everything looked good at the start. It wasn't as though he came in and just didn't do anything. He came in, I think, in his first 4 games, he got 2 goals and 2 assists. And he was playing on the left-hand side of midfield, which was where he'd got man of the match for Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League final just a couple of months prior. But the beginning of the end for Di Maria was also his best game, which was Leicester City away. They were 2-0 up, cruising, 3-1 up after 57 minutes and ended up getting beat 5-3. And after that game, I think Van Gaal looked at it and thought, right, we need to take more of a defensive approach. That didn't mean that Di Maria was taken out of the team, but he was switched from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And what we were so used to seeing with Di Maria over the years and even his early stages of his career at Manchester United was when he got the ball on the left-hand side, was driving at the full-back into so much space with him going on the outside. Now you switch that over and he's now playing on the right-hand side. His first touch is in-field. And all you're doing is just going into a cluster of bodies. It becomes more of a problem. And he just ended up going down so many cul-de-sacs. So I think that had a part to play with it. Then the injuries took its toll, and as well, there was an attempted burglary at his house. So there was a number of factors that really went against him.
As someone who played abroad where English wasn't the first language, you played in Belgium, and I'm not even going to attempt to try and speak Flemish because everything will get covered in spit and everything like that. He, for the first time when he went to Manchester with Mrs. Di Maria, was going to a club where they didn't speak his first language. And I know he's in Paris now, but that was his first move. How difficult did you find it in Belgium if people didn't speak English, and how easy or hard was it to adapt to a different country?
I think you have to embrace it. I went over to Belgium. Fortunately, there was so many different nationalities. I think there was 16 or 17 different nationalities within the squad. But if you put the shoe on the other foot, me as an Englishman, being in a dressing room, seeing a foreign player coming through the doors, you have the utmost respect for them if they then try to get used to the way you are, as in terms of the language that you speak, the way the country is in a whole. And if they embrace it, then life becomes so much easier. And, we're talking about Argentinian players. Well, you only have to look across to the other side of Manchester. You've had Aguero, you've had Zabaleta, and they seem to have dealt with it okay. So it's all about how you approach it. From my perspective, going abroad, it was something that I had to embrace, the culture and everything that surrounded the area, and try and do that. Also, otherwise, you will never fit in. And I think if players don't try to fit in, as in terms of whatever country that they're in, it becomes more difficult to adjust.
Finally, there have been a lot of good signings and a lot of bad signings since Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United. Would you say that Angel Di Maria is the biggest flop since Fergie left?
I wouldn't. No, I think just because on the premise that said when he first joined the club, you could see what he was all about. We started really well and then things conspired against him. I would say it has to be, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, probably Alexis Sanchez. And it's not because he's not a fantastic player. If anything, that's probably made him more of a flop than what he would ordinarily have been. You've got to remember, this was a player that I think the previous year for Arsenal in the Premier League, he'd scored 20 plus goals. He'd always scored, I think, more than 15 goals in the Premier League for every year that he'd been at Arsenal. And when he came to Manchester United, myself included, thought to myself, wow, this is going to be an incredible signing. We thought that he was just going to be, I'm not saying the missing piece in the jigsaw, but one of the missing pieces in what was a jigsaw that was being rebuilt. And it just didn't work for him. At no point did I look and think to myself, wow, this is the player that was at Arsenal. Because Arsenal was sensational, but it didn't work out for him at Manchester United. And I think the frustrating thing is that he's still at United, but he's on loan at Inter Milan, and United is still playing a large sum of his wages.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.